So yes, I'm Emma, and pleasure to be here today. And just to really say, we've got an hour session here rather than a half hour like many of the other talks, and that's because we're really going to be looking at having a very practical, hands-on session for this. So I'm not going to be sort of talking about lots of high-level stuff. I'm going to get into the detail of your personal profiles on LinkedIn to try and help you really make sure that your profile works hard for you and talks and helps your business. So I really also will welcome you, and I won't mind, it won't be rude if you want to have your mobiles out, if you want to be looking at your LinkedIn app at the time. I might even say to you, come on, how does yours look? And have a look and see if you can see whether you've got gaps that need improving on your profile. So that's the end of the game. I'm very happy if you want to interrupt me at any time, ask any questions, make sure that you stay on top of what we're talking about. As I say, it's not rocket science what I'm covering today. It's very much trying to make sure that we take away some practical hints and tips, and maybe even adjust something as we go along. So hope that's all okay with everyone. And just a very quick intro. This is the rest of my team here. Emily's just at the back there. So, hi, that's Emily. And then Chloe, I know many of you know from networking in Eastbourne, and Kelsey, who isn't with us today. She's off enjoying her birthday outing today. So we really help businesses with their marketing strategy. That's our core piece. And then we can become an outsourced marketing department for you, helping you deliver traditional and digital marketing, whether that's some of it, all of it, or indeed training some of your team to do it so that you're not beholden to an agency and you've got that ability to work on some things in-house as well. So ultimately, very flexible service. Everything's focused on being very targeted, cost-effective, measurable, as our marketing should be. And we basically want everyone that we work with to feel confident in their marketing, because it can be a space where people feel a bit overwhelmed and it's very easy to waste money. So we're here to help. And so that's just a little bit of background of us. But now let's get into LinkedIn. So basically we work with a lot of SMEs in lots of different sectors, and it's amazing how much LinkedIn has been a bit left to the wayside and hasn't been looked after. And it is such a fantastic platform. It is without doubt my favourite platform. It's where we get the most engagement, the most activity, and it's just boomed, it's just developed so much. That's not to say that there aren't a few naughty people that tried to spoil it during COVID with some terrible salesy activities that put off a few people. But I think that's calming down a bit now. There was a bit of panic, I think, in COVID, and people were thinking, I've just got to do everything online, and some people really went into it without thinking about it properly. But I really just can't speak highly enough of LinkedIn. So does anyone need another chair? I'll pop it over here in case anyone else comes. I just really want to make sure you're all using it as the best you can. So the first thing really is, how is your personal profile on LinkedIn? Is it really representing you well? When did you properly take a bit of a forensic look at your profile and see what's missing, and whether it's complete and optimised and so on? So what we're going to look at here is fully populating your LinkedIn profile and optimising it as well. So not only do you want your LinkedIn profile to come up in search results within LinkedIn when people are searching for someone in your profession, you might even have your LinkedIn profile come up in Google search results as well. So for example, when someone searches, say, marketing consultant East Sussex, not only does my website come up on Google, a couple more steps down on the page one of Google is my LinkedIn profile as well. So, you can start to really work it both on the platform and off the platform. So, who's got a profile that looks like this? Anyone want to admit it? Who wants to do business with this chap? No one. Okay, so this really isn't helpful at all, is it? And it's amazing how many profiles on LinkedIn look like this. This one, I'm really sorry if any of you know this woman, I just randomly picked her. I don't mean to diss her completely. But slightly better, we've at least got a face, but still she's a regional manager. Of what? Where? I mean, just have no idea at all. So that's not great either. Not saying mine's perfect by any stretch, but you can see there's a little bit of a difference here straight away. We've got the cover photo at the top, we've got enough of a close-up of my face that you might be able to recognise me. And then you've got my name, and then you've got a full headline that utilises all of the characters of the allowance that you've got and we tried to say some useful things within that. So I'll come back to more of this. But you can see that there's a bit of a difference. And then like these people here, that's just another example. So working in software development. And so what we're doing here is he's explaining who he helps and what job titles they've got to achieve something, and talk about where they do it, what sectors they work in. So it's super helpful. If you see his profile come up, you will very quickly be able to decide whether or not he is someone who might be able to help you. And if we go back up one, here you can see that this actually follows a similar format for me as well. And what you can see is that I'm putting who I help, and then try to say a little bit about the benefits of using us, but then I've also got in something about my keywords, like I would optimise my website. I've optimised my profile for marketing consultant, and I've got my address in here. So although there is a field lower down for address, I've reinforced that in the headline as well to help where people search with a geographic reference. Now, if you're somebody who's got a lot more personality, like this man over here with the hat on, and you've got some great stories, and you've got some really great themes and personality that goes into your work, and you've developed your content, your business here, you know, you can say something a lot more charismatic than this is quite straight, but some people have a lot more humour and all sorts of things. And depending on who you are, what your brand stands for, will depend on what you put on here, whether you're dealing with big corporates, whether you're dealing with startups and SMEs. So you're targeting it at the right group, and you know, depending on your personality as well. So
can I just ask on yours?
Yes.
You've got, and I've seen it more and more recently, the talks about.
Yes.
Is that part of?
I'm going to talk about that, don't worry, because that's a really good question. That's a good early spot of what a difference that you can make to your profile, so I'll come on to that. Then this chap works in ultra-high vacuum. So what we've tried to do here, again, he's talking more about where he works across, but again, you're trying to get in different key terms that are relevant to that person and the sector they work in, so that it resonates with what people search for. So none of this is saying what this person said, regional manager. I don't care what your job description is, your job title. It's really not relevant. What I need to know is how you help me, what you do, where you do it, and more about the benefits you bring and how you help people. So there are some people, Maria is a lady who is less of an SME and a bit more corporate and national or global, and so she talks more about her being, you know, an Amazon author and speaker and so on, so she has a different style with some of her piece. And then Simon Leslie is a chap I've just started working with. I haven't done any of his profile on here, but he's just the new owner of Eastbourne Football Club. And you can see he's a bit like Maria from before. He's also, you know, he's an author and he does other things, so he has a slightly different looking profile, sort of a more broader scope with his one there. So. The main things then to first to think about, and when you dissect your profile now, is do you have a professional photo, or is it actually a picture of you with a wine and your sunnies on a yacht on holiday somewhere, and actually people wouldn't be able to recognise you, you know, ever if they came to an event like this. I actually just opened the door to the ladies just now, and someone went, "Oh, hello Emma," and I've literally never met her, but she knows who I am because she's seen me enough and I'm recognisable enough. So try to get that piece in next. You know, people buy from people, I want to be able to recognise. Then your background image at the top. Now, a lot of people have left this empty as well, but it's a great way to, you can change this as much as you want, so it could be seasonal messaging on there, but mostly you're trying to have someone land on your profile in the image very quickly, say what it is in the tin, you know, like what do you do or how do you help? The main thing is about how can you help people. And then something that just added recently is the bit about the bell, and I'll talk about that a bit later. But then what we've got here is the headline. So this benefit-led or outcome-led optimised heading. So I know that I was trying to optimise a marketing consultant and in Sussex. I mean, obviously we all work everywhere these days, but I had a geographic reference in for those that are closer and like to work face-to-face with people again. But you've got 220 characters there, so use them. You know, use them to actually tell a little bit of an introduction and your story. So that's that very first bit there, and then you've actually got, if you have a business page on LinkedIn as well, you can have a link through to your business page, and then you also have your contact info. And then you've got your services bit at the bottom as well, but I'm going to move move on from that. So that's nice and easy fields for you to fill in yourself. But this is just an example that on LinkedIn, I've come up 191 times in searches on LinkedIn in the last week because my profile is optimised. So people have gone to LinkedIn and they're searching for a marketing consultant, and my profile's come up that many times. So that's obviously really useful for raising profile. And then if someone types marketing consultant East Sussex, you can see that my LinkedIn profile has come up there. So that's where if you optimise, say the homepage of your website, you've got a phrase that you've optimised your website for, it may well be that that could be an appropriate phrase that you would also roll through your social media accounts, not just LinkedIn, but all your social media accounts. So have a think about that. The thing to remember really is with LinkedIn, it is more led by job title, because you're there often searching to find a person, so it's not that you're looking for this general service, it's what will be the job role of the person. It's more likely to be the phrase you're going with. So hence marketing consultant, not marketing agency. It's more about trying to find a person. Now, just recently, I've just talked about how important it is to get this headline text right. Now, LinkedIn, like everything, and like the talks we've had today, is bringing in a lot more AI options as well. So there is an option here where it's saying, it's in beta, so it's in test, but saying, would you like us to help with your headline section and your about section? So I just pressed that to investigate, but I really didn't like what it did. You can see what I've got, we've just been looking at it, and it was suggesting this, and I really don't rate that, it's not useful at all. So I've actually ignored the AI support on this at the moment, but again, as I've just learned in the AI talk, the whole thing is AI is continuously learning, and it's all about the data it's fed and everything else. But at the moment, as with, I'm sure, where you've got anything off ChatGPT or similar, often it's a really good base, but you still want to tweak it, and that's obviously where this is at as well at the moment, and no doubt it's improving all the time. So contact details, oh my goodness, go and look at your contact details. Have you actually got your contact details on your LinkedIn profile? So many people don't. I mean, basically your LinkedIn profile is like another website. It can be a place where people go and they don't need to go anywhere else. And so you should have all of your contact details on there. It's amazing. Your LinkedIn profile is there to network. Would you dare to go to a networking meeting and not speak to anyone, not give them your business card, not tell them your email address, not link them to anything else? Of course you wouldn't. So why have a LinkedIn profile with no contact details? So do please double check that, because it seems to be something that's often missed. So the next thing is that this comes back to your question about where some of these extra little features come on your personal profile. So there's something called Creator Mode. It's completely free. All of you could switch it on today if you wanted to. And basically, with Creator Mode, you get some additional functionality, which is super, super good. And I'd recommend looking at. So the first thing is that you can have a wonderful call to action link on your profile right at the top. So for us, we offer a free marketing strategy tool. There's a download that you can use to help pull all your marketing thoughts together. And we also offer a free SEO check for your website. So we help you understand what search engine optimization is, and we'll do an analysis of the core foundation fundamental things for your website for free. And so here I've got a lovely link for that, really high up my LinkedIn profile here, and that goes straight off to a landing page on my website. So it's super easy to do, and all you have to do is put in the link. And obviously you may have something else. Maybe you've got a link to book a free consultation, and that's a Calendly link. Maybe it's to watch a video. It could be all sorts of different things. So really, really take advantage of that. Everything, again, is about having a call to action. And it's really nice to be able to say to people, oh, just pop to my LinkedIn profile, there's a link. It's nice and easy. And it just makes your LinkedIn profile work even harder for you. And going back to where I was just now, the whole thing is that your LinkedIn profile becomes a complete marketing tool, and so you don't need to send people off somewhere else to get information. It's like a whole website almost as a profile. Now, if you have a paid profile, you do also have the option of having a custom button, like visit my website or something instead. So depending on what sort of LinkedIn profile you've got now, you'd have that option. Personally, I really like the call to action button from call to action link. I think that works really well. But these are all good. That's nice and visible as well. But if you might only have a free profile at the moment, so that Creator Mode link is really great. So once you've switched creator mode on, it's literally just a tap of a button, switch it on, switch it off. But then you get access to all this other lovely stuff. So you can do LinkedIn Lives, so you can actually go live on LinkedIn and have a video streamed. You can also run audio events. Clubhouse, some of you may have heard of, is an audio platform. Now, even if you never got on board with Clubhouse, it's now a function within LinkedIn, so you can run audio only. So a lot of us are getting used to listening to podcasts, aren't we? So this is like you can actually have a LinkedIn audio event. You can also have newsletters run through LinkedIn as well, and then you can feature those on your profile later. I'll get to that. And then you can have, they just provide you with a nice follow my profile link button that you could use on your website, on your about page or something as well. So lots in there that you can use with that. But what happens as well is that you have this ability at the top of your profile to say about the topics you talk about, which is where it's a hashtag. And so you can, at the top of your profile, very clearly say that as a creator on LinkedIn and various types of content, you tend to specialise in AI or architecture or graphic design or whatever your line of work is. Then by those hashtags being there, if people are searching by hashtags, it makes your profile more visible, and people can just decide quickly whether they want to follow you or not. Also, when you're in creator mode, there's a featured section that sits at the top of your profile. It's moved up compared to a non-creator profile, and so you can have recent posts or links, and in fact I'll show you later, other things that you feature as, it's a bit like when you're on Facebook or Instagram where you can pin posts to the top of your profile. It's a bit like that, it's a featured bit, so you can just choose some content that you'd like to feature that might be a great download or a video or something like that, just a great post you've done recently. So really worth looking at and super easy to do, so just go to your LinkedIn profile, scroll down a little bit and you'll see that option for creator mode. Any questions immediately on any of that?
You threw out 50. Is it different for a business page versus a personal page?
Everything I'm talking about at the moment is all about your personal profile. Everything's about personal profile. So your business page, sits separately, and there is different set functionality and descriptions and fields on your business page. There's less. It's actually a much simpler beast, really. The bell features on both, but I'll tell you about that in a bit. Okay, so other sections of your profile that you need to be looking at. Let's just carry on down. So you have an about section. Now there's an awful lot of people that have an about section that's just got like sort of 3 lines. And it really isn't an about section at all. It's really quite bland. It's maybe even saying what's the same as in their headline. But you've got about 300 odd characters here, and you can actually ask a question, you can reinforce a key message, but it's a bit like anything. You'll then have the see more. You just want to get a few words in, tempt people in, and then think, yes, I'd like to read more, and carry on and look at the rest. And basically, you have a whole heap of characters that you can use and put in here. Most people are not taking advantage of these at all. And you can show lots of personality in this, and you can provide this complete free for all. You can put whatever content in there that you wish that's relevant. You can change it as much as you want to. But basically, you might have some intro text. You're obviously going to talk about the benefits of working with you, what you do, ask some questions. And it is your personal profile, so do talk about you. You know, what's your why, what's your passion, why are you doing this, what do you love doing? So talk about that, a bit about your personal story, because again, it's about connecting with people. And you can have then go back into a bit more of about your business, so you can be talking about your unique selling points, the emotional selling points, the benefits you have, success stories, the services that you offer. And then again, like everything, you're optimising it with keywords. So we started at the top with your headline, like mine was marketing consultant in East Sussex at the time, and so then I've woven the word East Sussex into this as well. But you can see I've also used emojis to try and create some bullet points, to try and just lift it on the page, and then I've got, where I've been talking about reviews, I've got just put some 5 stars in. So it doesn't have links in it, but you have got lots of freedom. You space it out. Remember, with anything online, keep some white space in there, break up, into just short sentences so it's easy to digest on mobile as well. And really fill that in. Really, when we're working on profiles with clients as well quite a lot, we almost do a bit of a Q&A with them and just ask them about their business and what they do. Because so many people don't show their personality. And I had someone come to meet me and he was so charismatic sitting at the table, and then I went and looked at his LinkedIn profile. I was like, I don't know you're the same person. I really don't know you're the same person. So a bit like the chap who was in here this morning talking about sales. You know, we should not be sending out digital marketing that talks in a really formal, really salesy way when we would dream of speaking to people like that in person. So, you know, speak here how you would speak to someone naturally. It's, you know, I know it's terribly overused these days, but it is about being authentic, being who you really are, speaking naturally, develop relationships, you know, showing that you're interested in other people. So talk about that. And in here, you know, I've met people, and in their profiles here, you've ended up talking about, you know, how they got inspired initially to even have the career they have, you know, a bit of background, or now actually whether they love cooking Vietnamese food and things as well, you know, because they're things that end up becoming conversation starters when you actually come to meet this person face to face, and you might find you've got a whole heap of stuff in common that actually when you meet, you talk about stuff that's nothing to do with work initially, and you nurture that relationship. So lots in there. There's about 390 words that you can fit in there. So really take advantage of that, because also your likelihood of coming up in LinkedIn search results will be based upon you having a fully populated profile. So the more you fill in all the sections and you use the character counts that you've got, the better. You become more like a 5-star rated profile as well. So this is this featured section that appears at the top of your profile, or it features in your profile depending on whether you've got creator mode on. And you have the choice by pressing the plus sign, you know, about what you'd like to feature up here. So it could be a post that you've already done that you can just select and say, yes, please feature this one up on this top section. It could be you're adding a newsletter, an article, it could be a link to a YouTube video or any other media, some sort of PDF, or I don't know, anything else you've got that's a great piece of material that you think would be good to share tips and advice, or it might be a case study about some great results you've got, anything like that. So that can be really, really good too. So then you come to your experience section. Now, obviously this is your career background, but again, people make the mistake in here of not filling in a little bit extra information under particularly your current job. And you don't want to go and repeat exactly what you've got in your about section, but try and take elements of that again. You can see here that I've got, then again, marketing consultant, I've got Eastbourne, East Sussex in here. But what you'll notice that I really want to highlight is that technically I'm the managing director of my business, but people don't go to Google when they want to, go to LinkedIn when they're looking for a marketing consultant, and then start searching MD when they get to LinkedIn. It's just the least important thing of all. So my job title is marketing consultant, GPR consultant, and I've just stuck MD on the end, because really it's not relevant. No one goes to LinkedIn and searches MD, there'll be millions of results and it'll be meaningless. So, you know, what you do, think about what you're called. Are you an architectural surveyor? Are you whatever it is, you know, your job title, what would people be searching? So fill those in, and obviously it's completely your choice as to how much of your background you end up then including in your experience. But make sure that you perhaps add in a few more stories about what you've achieved for clients and things in there. And then there's lots more sections to the profile as well. And one of them is recommendations. It's really, really great to have reviews, so recommendations on your LinkedIn profile. So there may be people that have left you Google reviews. There might be people that have just written you a really nice email to say about the great service they've received. What you can do is you can go to the LinkedIn app, you can go and find that person, check whether you're connected, and then what you can do is you can actually request a reference, so a review or a recommendation from them. And what you could do is, if they've written one already, is find them, you select in what position you were in when they were working with you, and then you can just say, you wrote this fabulous review for me, I'm so grateful, here's a copy of it, would you mind just adding this to my LinkedIn profile as well, please? So you're not asking them to write anything new, you're giving it to them on a plate, and it's super easy for them to do that. And sometimes, depending on your business, if you're running your whole business really off LinkedIn these days, and that's your main platform, obviously you perhaps would be aiming to get all your reviews on this platform first anyway.
So
Yes.
when we start, so I'm just looking at mine, recommendations come right down the bottom, behind education and volunteering and stuff. Can you move things around?
You used to be able to drag and drop and move the profile sections around, but you can't anymore.
Why is that?
Oh, I actually don't know. I don't know why they decided to do that. I mean, certainly it's very easy to get to the recommendations section to look at it, because at the very top of your profile, on the More button, the recommendation section is in that drop down at the top of the profile, so it's actually quite speedy to get to it, but it's not something you can bring up to the top as such. As I think anyway, that's been the case for a while again now. There's also a section for skills and endorsements. So on your profile, you're able to label yourself as having up to 50 skills, I think it is. But that could be skills in your current job in how you serve customers, but it could be skills that you've got in-house, you know, like project management or training or other aspects as well. It could be things that are from your past jobs as well. And then what people could do is when they come to your profile, there might be a prompt that pops up and says, is Mark really good at web design? Is he really good at brand? And like, yes, okay, obviously. But yes, Mark is great at that. So that's where then you can see that I've got these little numbers against different things. This is where people have endorsed it and said, yes, Emma's actually quite good at that. Yes, Emma's done that for me, she's good at that. And so it's just, again, it's sort of that social proof that other professionals are saying that you are good at what you say you do. And then you've got your education section, which you can choose to add as well. The main thing is that you want to fully populate your profile. So make sure that you go across to where there's this bit here called Add a Section, and look through this entire menu and make sure that you've tried to populate as much of this as you can. So there's sections about licenses and certifications, there's other things about volunteering, mentoring that you might provide, lots and lots of things. Some things aren't showing here because I've already got them on my profile, but you can have featured projects, loads and loads of things. So do take a look at that. If you've got languages, there's all sorts of things in there. So work it all through and complete as many of these sections as you possibly can. And particularly if having accreditations is important, you know, make sure you get all of those added. If you've won awards, you can add those. Really good to do that. And I've always used to say this is important, but now we hardly ever use it. You can always just have a link. But when you go to your profile and you're editing it, you can actually edit your public profile URL. So what will probably be organically is it will be a whole load of numbers and letters, and it will be pretty meaningless. But if you go and click here to edit it, you can then make it so it says LinkedIn, and then it has just your name at the end. So it's just a nice, neat link if you were ever giving it out as a link, as opposed to just saying join me on LinkedIn and you've made that word LinkedIn a link to your profile directly. But we've almost gone past this these days, really. Also, now sort of coming off your most visible part of your profile and just going behind the scenes of your LinkedIn profile a little bit, it is really important to go through some settings, because there might be some in there that will be sensitive for you, depending on the nature of your business and how protective you need to be of your connections or other aspects. So you go into your profile, and instead of going into here where you normally edit profile, you go to settings and privacy, and there is now this menu, and they're all different settings and access for your account. But one of the ones I just wanted to highlight for now was one that's called People Also Viewed. And you see I've got that switched off, just from the point of view that if someone has found me on LinkedIn, I don't want it to say, oh, here's a bunch of other marketing consultants you might like to look at their profiles as well. You know how when you go to Amazon, it will say, oh, if you like that Thomas the Tank Engine book, you might like this one about Peppa Pig or whatever it might be. That's what can happen on LinkedIn as well. It will say, oh, I'm picking on you again, Mark, you're right there in my line of sight. So, you know, Mark's a great brand designer. Here's a bunch of other brand designers. I'm sure you don't want to really be pushing people towards your competitors. So switch that off. It's quite useful just to help. Now you've done all the work on your profile and they've found you, let's keep them just with you. That's a good one to be careful about. And then there is another one where you can choose whether or not you want to hide your connections list. Now, if you're not worried about that and you do lots of networking, you're quite confident in what you offer, and you know, if people can see who your connections are, it can be a useful way to identify some people. But if you've got a
particularly taken you years to establish this client base, and they've been really hard to win over and nurture, and you just think, I don't want my competitors to know who I'm working with. If you're in an industry where that is a big issue, you can hide your connections list. So it just, as I say, there's a few settings there. It's worth just, sitting down and running through them and just checking you're happy that they're all on the right settings and not some default that you wouldn't want. Okay, so that is the main section about your profile. Does that all make sense? Perfect. So obviously now you've got your super duper singing or dancing profile, you need to actually have some people come and look at it and build a network, okay? So you need to get your friends on LinkedIn, your followers. What you need to do is you need to send connection requests. Now, connection requests could be obviously to your people you collaborate with, partners, suppliers, prospects, customers, people you've met networking. And I just want to show you that there's different ways of doing it on the desktop compared to the mobile. On the desktop here, you arrive on a profile and you hit connect. That will automatically bring you up this little window and enable you to hit add a note, and you can add a little personalised note. I think it's about 300 characters. And you can do that there. It's different on the mobile, so it's really easy to say, oh, darn it, I've just pressed connect and it hasn't brought me up the window. On mobile, you need to click on, you don't click on connect, you hit on more, and then you choose personalised invite, and that's how you get it. But it's really easy if you're in the habit of that. You jump on your mobile connect, and you think, oh, and now a system-generated bit of American lingo's gone off saying, I'd like you to join my network, and it's not personalised anymore. So if that's important to you, just be aware of that little difference. So just a quick tip. So really think now, everywhere you go, think of all the connections or contacts you've already got in your business. Let's go and connect with them all. And if any of you are students or joining, trying to build your career, it's about trying to connect with the right people and build your network who could help you moving forward. Another thing you can do is look at who's engaging in different posts that you read on LinkedIn, and you might find, well, these people are obviously interested in this topic, or they've had some really interesting things to say. I'm going to connect with them as well, because I'd like to carry on being involved in conversations that they're having on LinkedIn, because it's in a subject area that you're interested in or you add value in as well. And then you can actually search for hashtags on LinkedIn. Now, they were the last social platform to bring in the hashtag use, but it's well established now. And just like on other social platforms, if you search for a hashtag, you will then see all the content that's on LinkedIn that has included that hashtag in its content. And you can again see, well, who's joining in with that conversation, who are other people that I might like to now be listening to, watching, conversing with on LinkedIn, and try and connect with them. But this is something that I've had conversations about over quite a time. So what is actually your personal preference? Perhaps we could just do a quick show of hands in a minute. Do you sit there with this sort of decision, should I just hit connect and just send an auto-generated request because people don't really care? Or should I actually do this personalised message and show that I've looked at their profile, I'm genuinely interested in them? Or is it that they're going to be suspicious if I write something? They'll think, oh, they're going to send me a bloody salesy email straight after and it's going to annoy me. And so it's just like, will I look salesy, won't I look salesy? Does it look like I care? Does it matter? And it becomes quite a tricky one to understand. So I have done a poll just recently over the summer on LinkedIn, and some of you may have run polls as well. But let's just do a show of hands in here. So what type of LinkedIn connection request are you most likely to accept? Okay? A system invite, not personalised at all, that's fine for you, you're really quite happy with that. Number two, you really want an invite with a personalised note because that matters to you, that they've taken that time to do that. Or actually you don't mind either, one or two. To be honest, don't give two hoots because I'm always going to go look at the profile anyway and see whether they're posting about stuff I'm interested in, whether we know any of the same people, whether they look like they're even on LinkedIn properly at all. Or actually, I don't care, I'll accept everyone, I just want to build my network and I don't really care whether we're on the same page for things. So, number one, who's voting for number one? Hands up.
Is this sort of cold prospecting?
Yes.
Like someone you wouldn't know?
Yeah,
So if I know the person, you don't need to white
No, that's it. So, I mean, today I've connected with a couple of people, I'm stood with them, and I said, I'm just going to send this without note, is that okay? I'm just, you know. But no, this is like, literally, you might not know this person from Adam, and you're just sending them an invite. So would you be connection request? Who's happy to do that, to receive that connect? Okay, that's a big fat 0. Number 2, you'd like a personalised note. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6-ish. Okay. Any? Either? We don't mind? Okay. So that's definitely the biggest group so far. And then number 4, who's just picking themselves out. Okay. Well, we know who you are.
I used to be number 4 until I got up to a certain number. Now I
You're not fussy.
Yeah.
But no. I mean, you know, that's great. So that was quite interesting, wasn't it? So number 3 was the winner in here, wasn't it? Okay. So when I did this as a poll, sorry, the quality of this picture wasn't very good when I copied this in. So as you can see, the winner of this particular poll was exactly the same. That was the winner. So we had 51% also said the same, and closely, well not closely, but the most nearest was 36% for the personalised note. And only 1%, whereas we had a 0 in here, didn't we? And then 12%, so yeah, that's our little 3 in here, are there. So very consistent. In fact, I ran this same question to, in June, I did a talk in Brighton and Hove, and it was exactly the same result. So it does seem to be that this is the trend, that actually people don't mind, and largely will just judge you by your profile. Hence, well done in being here thinking, I need to get my profile looking top quality. So, you know, it highlights the significance of this, so that's good. But that said, you know, 36% is not to be sniffed at, is it? So, you know, I certainly have been more in this camp in past times, but now when people start to think about LinkedIn lead generation, actually doing personalised notes to everyone you find is really time consuming. And now you could think, maybe I do that for some people, the highest value people that I really want to do, and you're really happy with the words you're using in your connection request. But the rest, actually, bang, 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 that saves a lot of time, and I've got my initial thing out there. So it really depends on your strategy, and you know, obviously it's about when people connect, are you putting out bloody good content that's worth engaging with, that they're really pleased they connected with you. So if you do decide to add a message to your connection request, make it short, sweet and simple. I think it does get suspicious. The more you say in it, the more people actually get suspicious. So if you can be really short and sweet and say, brilliant, I was at this event, great to see you were there too, you know, and something really short like that, or we both know so-and-so, how did you get to know more? Or if you just did a brilliant post on this, I just wanted to say I'd love to catch up with you a bit more about it. So there's something in there that is really relevant and doesn't look suspicious. Do not make it salesy. Do not make it salesy. You wouldn't dream in a face-to-face meeting of saying something salesy the first few sentences, so just don't do it online. And then definitely don't send some horrible, long, salesy message. Immediately they connect with you, because all they will do now is think, oh, you bloody well tricked me into this to start with, delete. You know, and it just does nothing for your brand, nothing for relationships. And frankly, it just ruins LinkedIn for everyone. You know, it's just no good, is it? Because we all then think, oh, should we ever do any of this? Because now people are suspicious, because there's been people doing it in really a poor way, particularly, as I said, during COVID. So we're trying to get this back up, positive experience again. So let's just quickly talk about the bell, because we're talking about growing your network now. So you've got your great profile, you're putting out some content, you want people to see it, so you need to be connected to people, have people following you. So obviously you can reach out to people that you've met or your prospects and so on, but also what you can do is there's this little bell now. So if you find someone on LinkedIn, you think, do you know what? Nick here does bloody brilliant content. I'd love to make sure I don't miss his stuff. What you can do is go to Nick's profile and hit that little bell, and then that will make sure that you get a notification each time he posts. And so if you have people that really interest you, do that, but equally, why not add to the bottom of some of your really great posts? If you'd like to make sure you don't miss more posts like this from us, do hit the bell on our profile or on my profile, and make sure you don't miss it. So it's a great way to perhaps encourage people to
to not miss your content. And in fact, as you can see, what I've done even is just because it's not that new, but it's on here. We've just added that as a little extra just to inform people, and given I'm doing these sorts of talks, it's just quite handy. So that was that part, and then this is where Dave, I've got this little mention on the business pages. This function does actually appear on a business page as well. So you also have a little bell there, and then you can choose whether you want to only see top, new, or no post from those people. So people can choose that on the business page as well. So, let me just check the times are all right. So types of content. So I'm only going to do a couple of headlines on this because content will be so dependent on who you are and what your brand stands for and type of business you are. So I'm going to do some very broad things here. But the main thing is to try and post consistently. That doesn't mean you have to post 3 times a day, but it's just post what it can be consistent for you. And obviously, as with any marketing, it's about the touch points. It's the number of times people start to see you and you become very top of mind for them. So tag people in your posts as well. That helps with your content being seen and other people being alerted to your post and sharing it. And then with the hashtags, on Facebook you should only use 1 or 2 hashtags. On Instagram you can use up to 30. And on LinkedIn you should use exactly 3. That seems to be, from research that's undertaken, is exactly 3 hashtags. From what I've seen and researched and seen things on there. I mean, Nick, do you agree with that, or have you not found it?
3 to 5.
3 to 5.
Algorithmically now, hashtags are starting to do this.
Do.
So, yeah.
So it's certainly not 25 or something like that for sure. So just try and pick 3. And then what you can do, of course, if you've got a really great piece of content, it might be that it's relevant on your personal profile, it might be relevant on your business page, but there might be some groups on LinkedIn where it's also relevant. Anyone here posting groups on LinkedIn?
Yeah, I do.
So there seems to be a mixed bag of groups actually now. There's some groups that have sort of died to death and they're not very active anymore. It has been a really good place, and I think it depends on the industry. There's, in fact, that lady Maria, whose profile came up before, there were some brilliant groups that we had found for her, and they've worked really, really well. And then there's other people where the groups are just not very active, so they haven't added as much value. But it also depends on notifications, because it depends whether people are actually spending time going and checking those groups to see the content, and they're remembering to do that, or whether they've got their notification settings that they get the notification about, a reminder weekly to go and check out the content in a group. But I mean, we've got a client now, the one who's in ultra high vacuum, and they're in nanotechnology and all this amazing stuff, lots of things going to space and what have you. And there are some really niche LinkedIn groups that are great for that. And then there's some that are really good for neuroscience and HR and things like that as well. So it does depend on the industry, but really worthwhile looking. Yeah.
So you're probably going to come to it, but you said about tagging people and things like that. One of the things that I found recently, so for instance, doing the webinar this morning, as soon as I put a link to the webinar within the post, its reach just doubles and it doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, see, this is another thing that seems to change over time. And it always was that you just have links in posts. Then it's definitely that you don't have links in posts because of reach, and that was always the way it was. And the thing is that I think LinkedIn are trying to keep you in the platform and not send you out, as were Facebook and everything as well. And that's where I think, where you can actually have the information about the webinar now on LinkedIn as an event, and you try to keep it all in the event, that all on the platform, that is LinkedIn's preference.
Right, okay.
And in fact, you'll be able to.
My question to you is, why are you trying to drive them somewhere else? Why
Yeah.
not just keep them on the platform and talk to them? So run the webinar on LinkedIn, run the live session, and you can actually create webinars on LinkedIn as well.
So the
it makes
function's
sense to
grown
drive the
enormously
traffic
now.
somewhere else when you're already in that
So
conversation.
so rather than putting
It's
a
just
link to
another
a Zoom webinar,
Yeah,
do
it's
it on
another
LinkedIn.
hoop for them to jump. Like, don't make it difficult for them to talk to you. Keep them where they are.
And I think that's where then actually it's more about us changing our habits, isn't it? And using all the functionality that's now developed. Because obviously the platforms didn't have that before. And you see, we've now started putting links back in our posts when we have to, when we need to,
because actually what was happening was we changed it for a while and you put it in the first comment instead. That was then became the workaround. That you did your post, after it had gone live, you then popped into it and you just dropped the link into the first comment, and in the text you said link in the first comment, or link below or something. The trouble is, if someone actually shares your post, they were not always seeing the link and drilling down to it, and then they can't find it, and so then that's a real, more hoops on.
There used to be a pin function. God knows why they got rid of it, but it was beautiful. So you could create a link, put it in the comments, and pin it, and it would keep that comment at the top of the. I don't know why they decided to get rid of it.
No.
The most moronic thing ever. God, I loved it, but yeah, they killed it.
So, I mean, I don't know, Nick, from where you're working very closely with LinkedIn, if people aren't yet using all the functionality in LinkedIn, say run their event live or whatever, I mean, obviously you can post about events on LinkedIn, but is it still then, if your only alternative is to really put the link in the post, and that's the best way around?
Typically, you would put it in the comments, not to build reach. So, as you mentioned, no social media platform likes it when you drive the traffic from it to somewhere else. So, trying to strike people on the platform and put it in the comments, so put it in the body of the post.
Yeah, the only thing is then if it's shared, it can be harder to reach.
But then my question is, like I said before, is like think laterally. Don't create the webinar somewhere else. Keep it on the conversations happen on the platforms.
Because the post got shared 20 times, but as you say, then they can't see a comment on it.
It's hard to reach it, so it's tricky.
Thank you.
It's a long work out. How often can you update your link on your main profile? Is that sort of link in bio type situation from Instagram able to transfer over? So you could.
Yeah, I mean, you could use something like I use something similar to Linktree called Zap, which obviously goes to like a mini landing page which has all my links on it. You could update it. Like sometimes I've had situations where I've had a specific piece of content and I've changed the link to match that piece of content, so it drives in somewhere and I've changed it back in. You could change it 50 times a day.
Yeah, there's no limit.
Yeah, so you could like find the link on the profile sort of thing, and it goes off to the most relevant.
Yeah. And on our Instagram, what we've done is we didn't end up using Linktree or any of those platforms. We just created our own landing page.
Yes,
it's just easy enough to just create a landing page ourselves and not create a feed. And so the other thing then is about using video and photographs. Anything with people's faces in always performs hugely better than anything else. And there's now automatic video captions being added on as well. I do still
Can
find
I get a hallelujah for that?
Yes.
3 years of growing captions is literally sucked the soul out.
Yeah, all the extra tech and work to do it. The only thing is now I am finding there are people that are not reviewing them before they go live, and you can actually look at them and you can edit them. And obviously it's doing its best and largely it's correct. But sometimes, obviously in our English language, you can spell something two different ways and it's completely the wrong meaning. And it gets a bit messy. So do remember to just quickly review them because they're so easy to edit. So types of content then. Obviously you're aiming for a nice mix of content. You want people to get to know you, like you, trust you. And you've got to focus on quality, helpful, story-led content. Use lots of images and video and go live. Try and run everything on the platform like we've already been touching on. So the main thing is you want to establish your credibility, how approachable you are, that you're the expert in your field and all that sort of thing. And so make sure that then, this is predominantly the sort of content you're giving out. Lots of great tips and guides, plain English terms. Talk about problems that your clients and prospects face, and talk about how you've been there, the sort of solutions that can be offered and how you can solve it. But try to tell it more with a client story rather than we do this for you, we do that, so it's selling, to make it a bit more subtle than that. Social proof, obviously, stories about clients, case studies, it's all about showing, not telling, really show, not tell. And then go behind the scenes. People love, people buy from people, so again, it's getting to know the personalities in your business, what's going on with your team and community. Having also relatable stories. More and more, I know some people find this really difficult, but sometimes it is about you and you as a person. Some people feel like, I shouldn't be talking about my personal life or stuff that's happened to me, but actually, again, people buy from people. If you were standing here face to face and we were having a conversation, something might come out about,
you were made redundant and that's how you got into your field, and we talk about that, or that you just had a complete career change, or how you got into something, and maybe it's something about your kids, I don't know, all sorts of things, but just people like good news stories about how you had a lucky break or that you just won a new contract and all sorts of things. So try to also have those relatable stories where people will then say, oh, do you know what, that was exactly the same for me when I got made redundant. You end up having a chat and sharing experiences, and again, it's drawing you together, it's creating a relationship. A sales post isn't hard selling, so give away tips, but at the end say, if you want any more help with this, really happy to have a chat. So again, it's not too salesy, or open a discussion. Invite people to ask you questions about a topic, and then you've got a chance to demonstrate your knowledge. Other thing that's new, or newish, is that you can now schedule within LinkedIn. So lots of you may have been using Buffer or Hootsuite or all these other platforms for years. Again, there used to be in the old days a thing about, the platforms don't like it when you organise it somewhere else and then put it out. It's better to put stuff natively straight into the platform direct. And now with this sort of functionality, it's so easy if LinkedIn becomes your main tool for you to be going on holiday for a week, and actually you have 3 posts you want to do, and you just hit the little clock and say, I'd like that to go out this time, this one, this time, and so on. And when you create a post, these are where some of this other function about what you use. This is the polls icon, and it helps you create a poll really easily there, but you may know that. And with anything, marketing's so important about measurement. There's lots of great analytics, as there are on all the social platforms these days, but you've got analytics about posts, you've got analytics about your audience, because again, you want to be delivering content that matches the people that are following you. You don't want to be talking about things that are not relevant. And there's so much data in there, whether it's job titles, locations, industry, seniority, company sizes, companies, you can really get some great data on the people that are engaging with your content, and you can have lots of data about your different posts and how they performed, and so you can start to see what content is really getting people excited to contribute and engage and like and share and so on. Now I've only got a few minutes left, so I'm just going to spend 2 minutes on this. So lead generation, just to finish up with. Now I know the sales guy this morning was very interested, saying, oh, all this, and he did swear a lot, so I apologise if I now swear. He said fucking bollocks throughout most of it. But we have to do a bleep test now in the video, sorry. But basically he was saying, don't put out all these emails, don't put out all this stuff, don't go to exhibitions and have a stand who only 5 people can stand in front of you, you're limiting it. You need to get out when your business is growing and actually meet the people yourself. You need to be on the ground. You need to be, as the founder, the owner of the business, engaging in making sure that you know that your product or service has a real fit, and that then you can engage salespeople who can then really understand your business and deliver the right message. And so I was thinking, I do talk about LinkedIn lead gen and things, but the whole thing is that you can use, he was saying get out and talk to people face to face, but LinkedIn lead generation, you have a choice. You can use it for face to face or online, and that's why actually it is a really powerful platform. So you can find leads on LinkedIn that are your absolute perfect target market, and then you can choose whether you carry on and email them within LinkedIn, off LinkedIn, whether you go and find out their address and you turn up on their doorstep, or you find out where they go network and you go and meet them face to face. So LinkedIn, if any of you have tried to buy lists of prospects in the past, before GDPR, lots of people did that. It becomes a bit harder these days to get quality data. But on LinkedIn, on lead gen, I love running sessions with business development teams, and you just see this light come on. They're like, oh my god, I never knew I had all this data at my fingertips and I wasn't using it. But basically, you can go into LinkedIn and you can find your perfect database of clients. So first of all, you can find warm prospects by finding out who's already looking at your profile. And you can see that my profile's been viewed here, I don't know, or whichever data I took this from, but 335 people have viewed this profile in 90 days and appeared in search 191 times in the last week, because your profile is well optimised and populated, so that's what you want. And you're going to be able to look at who some of those people are and be able to make contacts. But then for finding cold prospects in the free version of LinkedIn, you still have this search function where you can go in and you could type in, say here, you want to find someone who works in ISO 9001, and maybe they've got a job title of quality manager, and they're in a certain region, they work in manufacturing, You can put in all this data and find your perfect clients, and you hit the all filters button, and you go off and you fill in these bits. The most important here ends up being, a job title often. That's who the sort of people you need to speak to. But you can choose to reach people that are just second level or third level connections, or whether they connected to other people, what location they're in, as I mentioned, and whether they work for a certain company now. There's lots of data you've got to look at, and then you can actually find a list of people. So here we are, there's 1,400 results of all these people that are quality managers that mention the word ISO 9001 in their profile somewhere, and then you can go through and decide how you might approach those people. The only thing is, if you're on the free version, you will reach a search limit, and LinkedIn will just say, hang on a minute, you're not paying, hold up. So then all that happen is you'll probably have to wait until the next month starts, and then you can do some more. But otherwise, you can use Sales Navigator to actually use as a paid tool on LinkedIn to really get into some superb data. And just don't forget, if you're a member of a group, you can message 15 people a month who are members of the same group of you without being connected to them and without paying. So that's a great way if you're a member of a great group. Go and look at the members of a group, and each month you can contact 15 people direct without being connected. Because normally you can only message someone if you're connected, but actually in a group, that's a really neat workaround. So with Sales Navigator, it's amazing what you can do. It'll appear, once you're paying for it, it'll appear as that little icon in the top right. And then you hit on lead filters. Leads are people, accounts, and businesses, so we'll focus on leads because we're looking at people. And I'm just speeding up a little bit here because I know what's finished. But basically you have loads and loads of different filters, so you can pick. In marketing, lots of us talk about customer avatars and your ideal customer profile, and you can go in here and you can really say, I only want people in this geography, in this industry, you've got this so many people working for them that are this seniority, that work for these types of companies, and you can go and find the exact list of people you can include and exclude criteria to make sure that you don't get anyone sneaking in on the list that you don't want. And then amazingly, LinkedIn is now a sales rep for you as well, because once you've set up this list and you've saved it, LinkedIn will then tell you of your saved searches, so this is the profile of all these different people, and so guess what, 16 new people are on LinkedIn that also fit that profile. Would you like to know about them? Oh, and here's 845 people that have now joined LinkedIn that look like they would fit your profile. That was one that was done a long time ago. But you can see that LinkedIn's then going to work really hard with you and just keep feeding you leads. Isn't that brilliant? So, you can then decide how you're going to make contact with them. But basically, on Sales Navigator, what you do is you search for your ideal prospects, you save those searches, you review the searches, save the people that are then the ones that you really want to target. Because obviously there will be some who think, oh, they're not quite right, and you'll save just the best ones onto a lead list. And then you can start to visit. What LinkedIn Sales Navigator does is it shows you a news feed only from your leads. So it's very quick for you to come in the morning, look at your Sales Navigator news feed, and it won't be all your normal connections, it will only be people from this lead list. So you can very quickly work down it and like or comment on their posts, so you gradually enter their consciousness by commenting, and they'll see your pieces on there. And then you can maybe go and craft a connection request, do whatever you're going to do there. Find out if you're in some of the same groups and what you've got in common and so on. And then you can prepare some follow-on messages and make sure that you don't rush this process. If they make contact, do another gentle message about them. And then when they reply to that, say, oh, well, this is what I do, or I might be able to help you with that, or can I introduce you to someone? And you build this relationship. If you want to, you can go in and look at an email address that they might have on their profile, and you can just email them as separate practice. You might send them direct mail, you might try to meet them. As I say, you can go offline and do more traditional face-to-face sales techniques after that. You can remember now on LinkedIn messages, you can even do voice messages, so you can bring yourself to life a little bit more with people hearing your voice. There's lots of great things you can do. That's on the mobile app. You can do little video attachments. So I can literally stand with my mobile, Dave sent me a message, and I'll do a video voice response, and it will go back. So you can bring it more face to face, even within LinkedIn. So it's really brilliant. Did you get that? I like LinkedIn. Remember to really check your messages in both your LinkedIn and your Sales Navigator if you have it, because you almost have two separate mailboxes. That's something to be aware of, so you don't miss
So that's it. Come and chat to us in the exhibition area. Obviously, it's near the end of the day, but we will still be there for a little bit if you'd like to. Very welcome to ask me at any point if you'd like marketing planning to help with marketing strategy or the SEO check. So do just ask. And then on our, the video's not playing at the minute. If you want to, give me a business card and you can be in a prize draw to win tickets for 4 people to go to Ninja Arena in Eastbourne and go and do something sporty and active. So you know it's like Ninja Warrior. It used to be on TV, do a bit of team bonding and go and jump about or play with your kids. So it's just a bit of fun. They're one of our clients. And do join me on LinkedIn. Sign up to our newsletter. We do practice what we preach and try to share lots of free advice. And just one last thing, we've got another great event. If you've enjoyed today and you enjoy networking, there's another great networking event, a one-off on the Thursday, the 12th of October, with Simon, who's the new owner of Eastbourne Borough Football Club, but also is a global entrepreneur with a big travel media business that has a great story to tell. So if you'd like to join us with that, we do lots more networking with local businesses. And no doubt Dave will be there, because Dave's one of the directors of the club as well. And yeah, do come along. It will be a great event. So just thought I'd mention it while I'm here. So thank you very much, everyone.